Okay, so hello and welcome to today's live stream. Just give me one moment while I set a few things up. This is the first time I'm ever actually going live on YouTube. Normally I do it on Twitch, but today I decided to do it on YouTube. One of the first things I've kind of realized is that I don't seem to have chat control from my let me get it right, from my tablet. So anybody who's going to want to say something in chat, I'm not going to be able to actually see it unless I can get it up and running on my tablet, which I don't seem to be able to do. So I'm just trying a few things out to see if I can get it there. Okay, it could be here actually. I might have found it. Nope, can't even find it on here. Ah, there we go. I've got it. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so that's all set up. I can actually start my run in China. So okay, so as I said, it's the first time I've actually done this on I can't change the AI level. Oh, okay. Right, so I was a bit bothered yesterday because I felt the AI level, although it wasn't too easy, I felt that I'd set it slightly too easy for me, so I wanted to drop off that, but I can't, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, so we got some stuff come through. Durability on the front wing, I think it was, he said, and we had a new front wing, but we don't know yet exactly how strong that front wing is going to be. So really what I want to look at now is I've got 2,000 points, so I want to look at what I can do to kind of rack up the durability of my car. So I think I'm going to go with the MGU and the MGU H and the MGU K. If I can afford them. Okay, so that's going to take us a week. And the next ones I think are a bit too much for step up, so we're not going to be able to get them. So let's have a look at, go back out, let's go aerodynamics. I do want to try and get the aerodynamics a little bit better as well, so that we have more quality control, so that what's coming out is making it so that they don't fail. So we're gonna go like literally as high as we can on that as well. Right, okay, so hopefully that's going to give us some mechanical grip and a little bit of durability as well. As you can see, chassis, it's okay. Aerodynamics not so good. That's the worst part. So that's what I want to really work on. And then durability is the second part, because if we're going to move up the tree of competitiveness, we're going to have to make sure that we have decent mechanical grip and really good durability. I think that's so important, the durability part of it. So you can see R&D in progress, and then the progress history and how it's taken you. So we have a new part for this race, but we don't know yet exactly how it's going to be. You can see I'm 4th in the Drivers' Championship, managed to get a 4th place finish after Valtteri Bottas's car started acting up, and my teammate actually had a DNF, so that's really good for me. So you can see I've finished 4th in Australia there. So we're gonna go to the next round here. Just need to get my little book out and find what my setup was for the car. So we're gonna go to practice 1.
Good morning and welcome from Shanghai. The wet conditions here today are likely to prove an especially difficult challenge as the teams begin their preparations for the weekend's Grand Prix.
Oh God, so we got some good conditions here. I like this.
We'll be getting the green light in a couple of minutes, and all eyes are fixed on the sky. Anthony Davidson, they're hoping to spot a nice patch of blue heading this way.
Doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon, though, does it? I'm not sure how many teams will be willing to send their cars out in these conditions, to be honest. There are guys out in the pit lane with leaf blowers, practically at the worst of the standing water away, but it seems like a bit of a futile effort as things stand right now. Of course, the best way to clear water is to get cars out on the track. The trouble is, no one wants to be the first one out there. As soon as 1 or 2 sensible lap times appear on the monitors, though, more are guaranteed to follow.
Right, Chris probably mentioned the new cars that are coming from the factory. Well, they're all fitted. You're good to go. I hope they do the trick.
Me too, because if we have any type of failure, that's not going to be a good thing. So I'm going to go to car setup here. These are my original settings, but I can always adjust them depending on how I feel the car's doing as it goes out. So you'll have to just bear with me a second while I work on this.
At some point before qualifying, let's get our track acclimatization program complete. It'll help us identify any specific problem areas on the circuit.
The only thing is I don't actually know if this is a real one or this was a test one, because I don't like these numbers. These numbers are all kind of opposite ends of the scale. So I don't think I've actually written down my original settings for it, but we'll see. Because I only raced it once, or I only, as far as I remember, maybe went through qualifying in the rain. I don't think I've had rain at any other point, so that's never a good thing. Because once we go through the Parc Fermé, I'm not going to be able to change anything. And I really don't want a bad setup going into a dry race. I'd rather everybody else has that bad setup. Okay, and the weight distribution seems more important this year than it has been ever before. The last race I was really struggling, and then I just changed the ballast and it seemed to give me a lot more. So I can do the track acclimatization first.
Track is wet right now. Feel your way around the conditions before you start pushing the car.
Don't know what that sound is. That's a new sound, and I don't know if it's wheel spin or what, but I don't like that sound at all. I hope it's not my wing, actually. Ooh. I'm going to be honest and say that the car truly doesn't feel as twitchy in the rain as it did in last year's version, 2016. I definitely feel like I can apply a little bit more acceleration before the back of the car starts twitching out. But again, that could be due to the ballast, because as I said, the last year ballast had much more an effect in the game. You'll notice my fuel mix is on lean because this is just track acclimatization. I'm not trying to hit any super lap times or anything, so it's really, I find that lean is going to get you hitting most of the targets at the right time without going too deep or anything into the corners. So I tend to, in the rain as well, I tend to brake a little bit earlier than I would, just to, and to be honest with you, in other situations of driving in the rain, to be honest with you, I will generally try to try and drive more smoothly than actually speed. So try and make the drive as smooth as possible. Ah, got a green, did I? I wouldn't mind, that's an easy exit corner, that. Kvyat showing off a little bit. Probably wanting me to drive into the back of him, by the looks of it. Okay, so that's a really good one. I'm not unhappy with the setup, by the way. The setup feels good. It honestly does. I don't know. Obviously, for a dry race, I'm trying to get as much downforce as I can on the car. Oh, missed one. I was doing perfect there as well. That's a real disappointment. Oh, look at this as well. I'm purple through everything else. Oh. Well, that's unfortunate. Come on, Danny. Look at all these purples. Oh dear. Went way too deep there. Okay, well, not too bad. Not disappointed with the overall acclimatization there, but not overtly happy with it either. Sorry about the little pauses here. I'm just checking on a couple of bits and bobs. Okay, so you can see optimal speed, then average speed. So yeah, I didn't actually realise that it was registering your speed. But to be honest, you know, I got a perfect in the track acclimatization section. I'm not sure exactly. I think it's just anything but not getting reds and getting a few purples in there. So that wasn't too difficult. Tyre management. I'm going to go for this one now. So generally what I do is these two for practice 1, these two for practice 2, and then this and any just final changes I want to make to the car for the race strategy. So normally that would be things like, if I think it's going to be dry the next day, then I would set up for a dry but drive in the wet and just give it a but that's after you've done the race strategy. But you can't really get race strategy on wet tyres, so that really throws it all out the window. So just a quick look at the overview. So I'm the slowest by a long shot, but having said that, I was on the lean mixture. I wasn't putting anything into it, so we don't know what anybody else is doing. Danny Kvyat, Carlos Sainz, Esteban Ocon. Must have a lot of cameras at the track to be able to have singular cameras on players. So we're going to do the tyre management.
Checks complete. All personnel be aware we have a car leaving.
Now with the tyre management, I generally stick to the standard revs. The reason, oh look at one of the power units is down a lot, so that's something I have to keep an eye on. So yeah, I'll keep on the standard for this, just because I'm trying to get a decent reading on the tyre wear. If you go faster, you're gonna make it worse. You could maybe start, because you've got a few laps to do it, is maybe start on the lean, see if you can get within your track time, and then move on to standard if you don't hit it. But I try and stay on the standard for the first time and do it within those limits. Just so you know, you do get a little bit back on most tracks right at the end of the lap. So although you can be in the red at the end of the track, it does some type of compensation thing and you get some back. So do be aware of that, because sometimes you're nursing your tyres and then suddenly at the end of the lap it throws some extra grip in there. So this setup actually feels quite good. It feels good. We'll have to see with the lap times exactly what it's going to throw up for me, because so you can see I'm losing time on my expected lap time, and I was so busy looking at it there that I've actually thrown the car off the pace. So now I'm just within the pace, which is good. Now what I generally want to be is, by the end of the lap I want to be within a second of that, because if I'm in tyre wear mode I'm expecting to lap maybe 1 second, 1.3 seconds below an average lap time, so that's why I'm looking to get probably a second under minimum. If I can get more than that I'll be really happy. Okay, so you can see I'm getting good tyre wear. I am losing time now on this straight, so that's not good. I'm assuming that's taking into factor DRS, which I haven't got because it's on a wet track, so now we're making time. And so we're going to finish just, can lose a bit there because of no DRS, but 900ths of a second, that's pretty good. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn the fuel down as well, because I noticed that my engine's not in a good place at the moment. We're at something like 51% wear on some of it, which isn't good at all. So I'm not sure if after qualifying we should actually change parts of the unit, which I really like. It's a really good addition to this. The fact that I have to sit and think about this. I've got four units and I'm 50% through one of them, so all my R&D has got to either go in that direction, or it has to be a numbers game of trying to get, you know, taking positional hits by having new units, but then trying to make it up in the race and things like that. So something definitely to be pondered about and taken into consideration. The funny thing is I've hardly even driven the car hard in that first race, and that's what's worrying me, because I can't remember. It's a Ferrari unit, I think. I think it's a Ferrari unit we've got in the car. And I think that taking these things into consideration makes it more interesting, because in past versions of this you never really retired. So it said there's going to be 10 more minutes of the rain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save my setup, because I feel comfortable with it for the time being. I feel quite comfortable with it, so I'm going to save the setup. because if it's not raining tomorrow, I think the computer will reset me. Other things about the game which I really like is that the safety car didn't come out in Australia, even though there was a few retirements and there was a couple, I think there was 2 crashes, and the safety car didn't come out. And that's important to me because I felt that in the last game the safety car was out too much. It was guaranteed every race, and in reality the safety car does come out a lot. But you know, this isn't IndyCar. So what I like as well is this map with the tyre management. I don't think it had it last year, but it shows every corner where you actually do well with your tyre wear and where you're doing bad, and it's actually really good because it's giving you a visual representation of where you should be concentrating more on sticking to the line and not pulling off. So not only is it good for the tyre wear, it's going to give you an advantage when it comes to things like qualifying. You're going to know that, okay, in this corner I never come in on line, so I'm not only losing traction, but I'm losing a scarce bit of time. So you know, all those things can be taken into consideration. So no crashes. The wing seems alright. It's a shame you can't get any, at least I don't think you can get any live. I don't think there's any way of looking at how well that wing's performing, unfortunately. So you can see, cripes almighty. I mean, with the turbocharger, we're over 55%. So I'm going to get a reduction in power. I'm not going to be able to run in lean if I use the energy store unit, so okay. I like the fact that it gives you feedback on what it will result in, because I wasn't too aware of what gets affected by what. So again, this comes down to your R&D. This is giving you feedback to go directly into your R&D. You know that your energy store and your turbocharger need work, so that's what you do your R&D in. So I'm looking at that, and it's in my overall wear's 44%, and part of you is thinking, oh well, you know, I can probably get through the practices. I might have to change out the engine for but it isn't about that. It's about the different components and when they need changing out, not the actual power unit on a whole. So I was unaware of this. I thought in reality that they have 4 power units and they changed the whole thing. I didn't realise that they changed parts inside. It's showing you gearbox usage, which actually is not too bad. That looks like I can probably get 2 races out of each gearbox, which only gives me 8 races, which means I'm going to have to take a hit at some point, I'm sure. We'll have to look at that. I'm not sure if you get extra gearboxes later on or something. We'll have to look. So car setup, I'm going to save this one. I'm going to save it. Oops. Okay, so I'm just changing a couple of my little bits and bobs here. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward the time because that's basically my practice done. You can push on and do the other fuel saving and the qualifying pace if you want, but I try and make it so that I'm doing 3 full practice sessions, and it gives you the opportunity to go out and look at, you know, if you've made a couple of points and saying, okay, I want to really get some development into that thing, because once you're into the race, it automatically switches to the next in the calendar, so you're not gonna have the in between. So let's see where we are. We're 17th, which is not great, but it is in the wet, and I was on. I wasn't pushing the car in any way, so I think I could probably get more out of it if I honestly pushed it harder. Alright, so it really didn't give me anything actually in the resource. So, you know, like I said to you before, we know where we're getting, for example, what I've put into here would have been better off going into turbocharger, I think energy store as well. So I would have been better off developing these, looking back at it, but you know, we all make mistakes, and those are the two things that I'll look into. So all your R&D really needs to go down that direction, but you also need to pay attention to, if you have any extra money to spend, is think about what's my next thing that needs developing, and trying to look forward to those things as well. And then there's other things which I'm not sure exactly how these work yet, but we'll see. Okay, so there's pit stop efficiency. Okay, so that'll come after 10 races, that'll come after 50 races. Okay. Come after practice programs, classic car event. Okay, so that's interesting. That's all going into helping. Okay. Yeah, but I don't understand. Additional bonus of 5% set to resource points and 10% 15. Okay. Okay, so they've really worked on this tree this year, which is good. Really worked on it. Just trying to see if it's raining outside. I don't think it is, thankfully. But we'll see when we go to practice 2. Okay, so practice 2's up and running. Looks wet again, so I'll check my setup to make sure that I'm still on my custom setup. Don't want it switching over. Quick look at the session info, see what the where's it gone? Weather. So it does look like we are going to have a bit of cloudy later on, so that's definitely something to look at. So let's have a look. We can do the fuel saving program just for the time being and get that underway. So if you just joined us in the stream, welcome. Feel free to say hello in the chat section if you're logged into your YouTube account. And if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button. I've got other videos coming, and I'm looking at doing more live feeds on YouTube. Generally I use Twitch, but I am looking to do a few more on YouTube itself. So if you subscribe, there's much bigger chance that I will be coming back to YouTube too. Okay, so on the fuel efficiency side, you don't get to change your fuel selection, because you basically, it's saying how much you can do it lifting and coasting. So really it's about lifting and coasting into corners. So this is the one where you kind of keep an eye on your lap times. I wouldn't be staring at the lap time. I would be aware that out the corner of your eye you've got red and green. Red's bad and green's good, and really trying to, if it's green, lift and coast a bit. If it drops into the red, just push a little bit harder in the next stint until you're seeing kind of a consistent green in the corner of your vision. I mean, on the straights you can get a good look at it to see exactly where you are, but now fuel efficiency should be all right. I'm not driving at high speeds. I'm not going to be doing any aggressive. I'm not going to be doing any aggressive accelerations because of the rain, so everything's going to be a little bit more step by step in my head. Okay, so we're going to start the fuel efficiency lap now. Not so good out that last corner, but we'll see what we can do. So as you can see, it's going red at the moment, and I'm not within the time. But I know that at the beginning of this lap, my lap times always look bad at the beginning of the lap, regardless of what I'm doing. Then as I go around this, they kind of improve. So I know that I've always got a little bit to give coming in that first part of the track. So I'm half a second up here, so that I know now it's a case of lifting and coasting through a few corners. So I'll lift about here. You saw I lifted when it was in the green, so it's giving me the fuel. Try not to go too hard out the corner because I'm still a second up. And this is really what you have to think about when you're a second up. Think about the time you're going to be saving. But just make sure that you're not saving in stupid places like on a straight, because your time is just going to go in the bin if you do that. Because you're going to lose time really fast. Remember on the straights as well, you're going to lose time because you haven't got the DRS, and unfortunately it doesn't look like they take that into consideration. So you're automatically on a big straight like this back straight here in Beijing, you're gonna see my green time is gonna go down, which is why I'm kind of trying to save a bit of time here, even though I went wide on that corner, so that's never good. So as soon as I hit the DRS line, you're gonna see my clock go down. Right, so now it's gonna go down consistently. Can you see that? It's just going down, 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 down. It's like a drain, and you've got to take that into consideration. Now coming to the corners, oof, took that way too tight, but coming to the corners I know I make up time. So I've got some time back through that corner. I mean, unfortunately it's just the way Codemasters have programmed the clock. So you see, I know now that I've got a second to give on the lap. So this time I'm going to lift and coast more, especially through here, without going crazy. But nearly back end nearly went out there because I wasn't applying any. Lifting and coasting, you don't really hear it too much in Formula 1. I've heard it a few times with Lewis Hamilton, his engineer, telling him to lift and coast, I think, but generally happens a lot in IndyCar, especially in things like the Indy 500. Alex Rossi actually, I think last year, finished the race lifting and coasting because he was literally out of fuel. So keep going wide now here. I don't know why. I haven't changed anything else about the setup, so I'm not sure why the car wants to go wide there. is I'm going to make a decision to go in, because I'm going to save a bit, I think, but it's not going to be, it's not going to push me into the purple. I keep on I always do that. I never break early enough coming up to there. Never. Now what I did forget to check on my laptop in between the two periods is where the rain's coming in, because I don't know whether to leave the qualifying and race sections for tomorrow now, because really, what am I going to get out of the qualifying pace here? It's going to throw it all up in the air in theory. I mean, I know that the computer will compensate because it's a computer game, but I'm trying to kind of keep it as realistic as possible in that sense. So you can actually see where I've improved some of my lines positions, but you can see I've actually done worse, but that was because I was lifting and coasting in some of them, so well, that's okay. We're doing alright there through there. So I think I'm going to move on to the qualifying pace. I might as well. Let's see if we can put in a decent time. So I'm currently 1:56.675, which it's going to make me the slowest car on the track, but at least I've pulled up to Fernando Alonso. I think you could see in the last one I was a little bit off, so it's not the end of the world that I'm a little bit off. As I've said before, if you've just joined the feed, feel free to say hello in the chat section. It may take me a couple of seconds to say hello back, because I'm concentrating a little bit, but I try and keep an eye on it, minimum. And if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button or hit the like button. It will mean that I'll do further live feeds on YouTube. I normally go on Twitch, but I decided to give YouTube a try today. I like the way that they organise the live streams, so I thought I'd give it a bit of a bash. Okay, so this is qualifying pace, so you know we have to go with a richer setting, but on the out lap I always switch back to lean. There's a reason for this, and it's why I do it in practice as well as in it's just muscle memory, so I remember that when it comes to qualifying, because when it comes to qualifying I put as minimal amount of petrol in this car as possible, and I get its weight to the lowest amount as possible. I do a few quick calculations and try and get that fuel as low as possible, so that I'm literally, when I'm coming back into the pits, I'm running on fumes. So even in practice, when I'm doing qualifying runs, I will put it in lean, just to make sure that I remember when it comes to qualifying, because things like that, doing little checklists, even if they're the smallest checklists, they will stop you making the mistakes that you consistently make. If you notice, I do have the racing line on, and the reason for having the racing line on is that sometimes, especially in long stints, I just lose concentration and I'll end up crashing out. So in order to try and improve that, and especially with this, went very deep there because I wasn't concentrating. I did take a place though, so I know that's a good overtaking spot. And so because of that, it's really important for me to have that line on, at least maybe for the first 6 or 7 races of the seasons. I know the track's like the back of my hand, but it's exactly where you didn't need Vettel pushing up when you're doing a qualifying run, but never mind. As I said, I'm always down on time coming in here, so it's not something that makes me feel any pressure. Now, if I fail the qualifying, it's not something I'm thinking about, but if I fail it for any reason because of the wet and because I know that it's in 2016 the computer didn't really take the wet into consideration sometimes, and as you've seen with the DRS sections, it doesn't here. It gives it back to you at the end of the lap, but you don't know when you're in that moment that you're going to get it back, so I think it's a bit, you can, you know, if you keep an eye on things and you know, okay, I'm going to get a little bit back at the end of the lap because it takes it away there, then you can plan ahead for it. But for me, it's not real time enough. So I've just done my fastest sector 2, which isn't surprising. I'm going to try and stick to the line going through here, better than I have on previous laps, so it's something I'm conscious about. Here we go. So there I can see my time ticking away. It's ticking away a little bit more slowly than it did before, which is a good thing. So I'm going to get a little bit back here and then I'm going to lose a bit. Don't lose too much because you're losing now because of the DRS, but I really don't want it to go too far down. Okay. Just going to try a different line. No, it's not going to work, that line. It's actually fucked up the whole lap, but never mind. So what they've done is they've set me a new target, which is great. I'll try and hit it. You've just got so much grip in these new cars, it's great sometimes. You can really kind of hold on to a corner that you don't, you know that last year's version you'd have gone just slightly wide on. You know, and now you think, oh, I've got the wheels to do it, I can accelerate that little bit earlier. Like here, I used to lose the back a lot here. And now I can kind of just make a slight adjustment to the throttle and get it back. I think I went in really deep last time, didn't I? So I don't think I'm going to get a 7th. I've messed up the exit, so but me too. I think I'm going to end it now. I don't. Wee, Magnussen coming straight out in front of me, teammate. No, you don't have to pull over for me. I'm on a warm down lap, mate. And sometimes, especially in the rain, I would do somewhere in the practice. I would do 1 lap on lane, 1 lap on standard, and 1 lap on rich, and see where you might be making more time in certain corners, because certainly being on the rich mix does not always help you. It truly doesn't. There's some cornerings where you come in just way too late if you're on rich mix, even if you've got your braking spots down and everything. You just You can see I'm coming in much slower this time because I normally miss that apex. It is something that during the race you have to be so conscious about. I'd rather lose a position, to be honest, than end up in that wall. Okay, so
Our best lap so far is a 1 minute 54.7.
okay, so qualifying pace isn't too bad. I'm probably going to get knocked down. I expect Verstappen, Massa to definitely go past me. Sainz possibly. We'll see. So this is going much better than Australia did. Now I only need to do the race strategy in practice 3. So I'm going to fast forward to the end of this one because I won't be doing anything else in this session. Have a quick look at the timings. So yeah, now I'm down to 14th. Magnussen's in 7th. Oof. How much further ahead is he? A second and a bit. Well, he's definitely stepped up his game since that last Grand Prix.
Quick look at the classification at the end of the session then. Here are your top three. Raikkonen, Hamilton and Sebastian.
So hopefully we can get dry session. So let's have a look at the prediction for tomorrow. Oh, hang on, there is a weather prediction. I saw it the first. I'm not going mad. I did see a weather prediction the first time I ever. Okay, so let's have a look. We're gonna have to think about this because we have some serious wear on the internal combustion engine. Well, not serious wear, but it's definitely something to keep in consideration. Luckily, they're all around. So it's got 54. I don't know if that means it's got 54 laps left in it. I'm sure it does. It's 54, 54, 54. So this power unit and everything might get us through the next this Grand Prix and the next practice, but it's certain I don't think it's going to get us much further than that. So that's something I really have to take into consideration. The only thing is these green ones as well are saying 54, so that's some. I don't know why it says that on all of them, because I'm sure it's not right. I'm sure the expected track time and wear is a little bit different, so I'm a little bit concerned that that's at 60%. It was at 50 before. It's probably going to be at 70 after. And then we're going to be getting into the red at the end of the race. I'm absolutely sure that's on 62, so that's going to be an even bigger problem. Gearbox is alright. See, I think that's what I'm worried about. That's saying 39% overall wear, and it's expected to last 6 races. I mean, it says there's upgrades to be had and developed, but yeah, I'm really going to have to look at that at the end of the race and allocate as many points as I can to those units to make sure that I'm going to get some life out of them. Otherwise, I'm going to have to take a hit somewhere and at some point, which is, I'll be honest with you, this is the great part of this game. I think the big change, that you're going to have to take all of those things into consideration when you're making those types of decisions, and I like the idea of that. I think it makes it much more interesting, but it also makes me realise that I've thrown some points down the pan, or at least some development points down the pan. There is a button to have them tell you where it should go, and I'll be honest with you, they should be making the decision. They are the engineers, they are the people who put the car together, so don't be afraid of pressing that button. I don't think the driver has much say in which direction the car gets looked at. I really don't. Okay, so it looks like we've finally got a dry session. Let's have a quick look at the session info just to make sure. So we've at least got sun for the time being, so we need to make a change to the setup. So setup. Just go balanced for the first one. Right, so just have a quick look at my book here. Now when I say a quick look at my book, this is honestly, all of these are going off last, are going on my setups for last year. So, you know, the aerodynamics, you can maybe up it one, I can maybe up it one, but at the moment I just don't think this car is good enough to be doing those things. But that's what all those extra minutes are for, because I'm doing a live feed. I'm going to try and go through things, but to be honest with you, use all that practice time to make your car better or worse. You know, you can only learn. At least, you know, if you've done it in the wrong way, that if you do it in the other way, you're going to find your little sweet spot, and you are going to find your sweet spot if you take the time and put in the effort. I'm going to go 35, actually. I'll leave it on that. Suspension 6, 7. And my brakes 73, 60, 62, 23.4, 21.9. And the weight distribution, last year I used to have it on 8, but this year I'm keeping it solidly on 6. I'm not going anywhere. I might try it on 5 sometime, actually, just to see if it gives me an extra little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this car setup, because this is okay, so race strategy. So again, race strategy. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to stay on standard fuel, and I'm going to do it at race pace. So I'm not going to try to push the car too hard. I'm not going to, you know, rag it in and out of the corners. I'm hopefully not going to hit the accelerator too hard. It's literally going to be, this is going to be race pace, sitting back and just putting in consecutive times if possible, he says. But now I've got no experience of trying on a dry track in these new cars, and you have to understand that when I'm driving around in the wet, that car sticks to the track like glue most of the time. So this is going to be interesting. See if my old braking points and everything fit. No, they don't, because that went a little bit wide, so I have to remember to try and come in a little bit earlier, try and find somewhere else. See, I just love the way the car sticks to the track there. It feels amazing. It really does. Oi, bit too, point my nose in a bit too soon there. Oi! Yeah, it's got definitely different braking points now. You'd think with more grip and aerodynamics it'd actually have a later braking point, but it actually seems that I actually need an earlier braking point for some cars. Maybe just because I'm carrying more speed into them. Race speed, I don't use DRS. Again, it's race. It's a race simulation, and you only get to use DRS in the race if you're within a second of the driver in front. So very deep there. And now I've got Raikkonen behind me. Okay, so now we're going to go into race pace. The thing is that coming out of corners is great. You get so much grip, but it's just going into them. You have to make sure that you're not braking too much from. He locked up there. I got a better braking into that corner. Oh, you can literally stick to that one. That's great. I love it. Sticking to this one as well. That's really good. Get really good outside of this one. See if we can carry full on speed through. That's good. Oh, that feels really good. A little bit too late on that one, but I think I've got the spot. Come through this back corner. Now I want to be carrying about 1 second here, because without DRS it's gonna flitter down. Yeah, let's see it. Actually, no, it's going up, which is really strange. No, it's not. It's going down. Oh, it's still going too deep there. Oh, please don't lose too much.
Okay, super job so far. We're getting great data. Stay focused.
So I think you only need to do 3 laps of the simulation. As long as you're within your time, they can do the calculations and get it right for you. So I went too deep, I think. I'm not going to stick to that corner now. I'm not going that wide. See if I can get it back on this one. To just work to concentrate a little bit coming out of this one, because this one's the one where you really build up the speed. Kind of like a slingshot. Oof. Definitely lost some time on this lap. I'm just hoping that if I get my braking point right here, which I'm not gonna, I'm still gonna go, well, not as bad as last time, to be honest. Try and get a straight line. I'm gonna hit the lap time okay, but I've got to work on that back corner. I'm gonna have to try and mark it from the 150. Hey! Or maybe just in between the 150, but definitely gonna have to do it from deeper. Sometimes I trust the I trust the racing line data too much when it's, for example, if it says do it from the 100, I'll be trying to push it and do it from the 100, but I know that it's just about getting that right line coming out of here. I forgot my braking point there, that's why I went a bit too deep into there, so. Okay, well, we're cutting a good time now. I like this one. So that's much better. So it's just in between the 150 and 100 to get that one. So that's going to give me a much better okay, so I still need to have a play around with my microphone to try and get the microphone part working. Because last year I had this on PlayStation, and I think you just used to speak. I don't even think maybe you did have to hold down a button and speak, and it was just really good. You can get information really, really quickly on various aspects. So if you could see clouds building up, you could ask for a weather report, and it would tell you. And I mean, it tells you anyway, but it kind of does it on a delayed progress. So I just think that you got, for example, the computer would come on at some point and say there's rain expected in 5 minutes. It's great. But if you actually got on the radio earlier, it would tell you pretty much from that moment. So if you saw clouds building, you could ask for a weather report, and it felt better. Oh, I just realised with DRS open, that braking point's going to be much sooner. Look at me, I'm like an old man around that corner. Don't forget, they're all on super softs, the people around me, so even if I slip down in the times, it's not going to be the end of the world. So that's practice over and done with. Okay, so you can see my expected tyre wear and the tyre life. I'm pretty much in line with the tyre life, but the race strategy has been good. Qualifying pace was alright, but remember all this was done on intermediate, so that is a better indication of what I want, and that says it's really, really good and everything's in there's some. Okay, so there's other things that I haven't really taken notice of. You can get extra things by activating the DRS, completing a race strategy with 2 different tyre compounds. So when you're doing a serious career mode, you want to be doing everything that it asks of you. you should be putting the work in. One, it's going to let you develop the car better and faster. Well, maybe not faster, but certainly better and overall faster. But two, it's what the team's asking you to do. Alright, you paid a lot of money, you're a famous driver and you're doing well, but you have to do what they ask you to do, so they're your boss at the end of the day. Can't all be Nico Rosberg. Little dig there. Don't like the guy. So, you know, so do all of these tests when you're doing a full-on career mode. It'll give longevity to your game, especially if you're a bit antsy. Hang on a minute. Let's see where I finished today. 16th. Kevin Magnussen beat me on soft tyres by a second. Okay, so I think we'll have to see. I think Kevin might have the upper hand on me at this track. I had him all over in Australia, so unfortunately I think he's got the upper hand over me at this track, but it doesn't faze me. I'll give it all in the race, and if I can give it all in the race, then I should do better than him. Okay, so I've got a voicemail. Pff, 13th. Wow, that's higher than the last race, and my performance isn't showing. So it's a big ask. I think I can't remember where I started in Australia. Is it in here? It might be in the no. Okay, so as you can see, I'm getting a little bit scared about this. Right, so in the qualifying I only used I used 5% on that. Sorry, in the race pace. And I used 1% on that one. So the turbocharger is the one that I'm really worried about, so I just need to do a quick calculation, so give me 1 second. 5% for 3 laps. So I'm going to be talking 80, 90, 95, 94. We're going to finish the race with 93% wear on the turbocharger, roughly. On that we're going to finish with 65, 67, 69, 71, 73. And these I wasn't keeping track of, aren't they? So we're going to finish 73, which isn't actually that bad. But we're going to finish 95, so the turbocharger is where all my development needs to go. So let's have a look just to see if I can do anything for my turbocharger in the R&D progress. Or turbocharger, I can't yet. It's going to take 1 week, so I might get enough out of qualifying to make sure that upgrade goes through, because that's the biggest one, and of course it's the one I've ignored. I had all these things I could have put into it there, but I decided not to. Just me not paying attention to the information in front of me, but that's okay. But we're plus floor durability at the moment, which is really good. It's definitely going to help us. So let's go to qualifying. Okay, so setup. Fuel load. I'm going to try and do this on 12 kilograms and then see what I get back when I come back in. So I know that we're in part Fermi rules. Drive out.
Complete. We're ready.
There should be an option, to be honest with you, to do all of that setup kind of before and then be waiting at the end of the pit lane as qualifying starts. Somebody's just come out behind me. Oops. Wait. Don't forget to turn your fuel down. So I want to drive like a raced style lap here. I want to get some heat into the tyres and into the brakes, so I need to be pushing those parts of the car quite hard. So for example here, I want to go full strength through here. I want to kind of push the car to its limits, but I don't want to do it on the maximum fuel because the wheels probably aren't hot enough and warm enough and whatnot, so I'm probably going to end up spinning out or doing something stupid. But also because I would really want to save fuel, because I'm trying to get the car to its absolute minimum. So you can see now, you know, it says 6 laps, then I know that if I get a good qualifying pace in, I can we've got clouds coming in, so we need to be aware of that. So now I'm going to move it up to the max setting. Oh no, I went wide. I might just get enough on the exit to get back up to full speed. I love how the DRS is buffeting you, that's amazing. That feels really good. Felt like the car was going to take off for a second. A bit wide there. Get the nose back in before we accelerate, and then we can accelerate away. Okay, so this hasn't been the perfect lap. It's not been terrible, but it's certainly not been perfect. Especially when I'm going deep again there. But these clouds coming over aren't going to help. And I think I can see rain in the distance. So if people haven't got out and haven't got a qualifying run in, they could be in serious trouble. That was my own fault. So I'm going to go for another lap on this because I think I can get another couple of laps out of it. Wow. Wow. Really fighting the car there. It's not good.
You've been moved down to P6.
sideways there as well. Vettel's right behind me now, but I don't. He's gonna have to race for his position because I'm not giving him anything on this lap, to be honest with you. Well, I'm actually down on this lap, so that's never a good thing. Oh, thanks. He's going to actually nick the corner off me anyway, so... Alright, so...
Pitting this lap then. Coming to the pits at the end of this lap.
There's about 340 remaining after 2 laps. Let's say 4. Right, I think we can get this right down for the second qualifying run. I think in the second qualifying run we can even put this down to maybe 4 laps, and then try to squeeze a little bit more out of it in.
This lap is a 1 minute 40.6.
So look at the timings. So who hasn't run well? 140, 142. Okay, so I don't know if I should push myself out here. Alonso's going to be below me. Magnussen's possibly below me. Hulkenberg shouldn't be. Julian Palmer should be. Ocon should be. Verline should be. So that should put me in 15th position. It's a risky one. I'm going to risk it. I'm going to risk it. Oi. Hey, no. Okay, so, right, so, I'm not going to risk it. Set up. What am I doing? Okay, they're alright. Right, let's go for a drive out. Come on, because we're running out of time.
All complete. Mechanics, please stand clear. We're ready to go.
I'm going to just be totally honest, 17th position is nowhere near good enough. And with all the worries about the engine and everything like that, it's... none of that stuff helps when you're thinking about it, so...
You're landing slower than Kevin.
We know that.
Faster.
I know that. Kevin's just getting me back after Australia. He was embarrassment and I beat him in every department, so he's stepping up to the ball, which is good. That's what we want. I'm not going to make 10 places up. I don't care how good run this is, I'm not going to make 10 places up. That corner I need to be really aware of, to be honest. I need to be 100% aware of that. Okay. And we're not going to get a better shot than this lap, so I'm going to really concentrate. And a car comes out the pits as usual. Sorry, I'm going to flashback this because this is getting really annoying. I've said it before and I'll say it again. They've coded it so that a car comes out the pits as soon as you come down this pit straight, which means that all my laps going to get destroyed. I'm now 200ths of a second down. He's going to hold me up here and my whole qualifying is going to be destroyed. And this is absolutely scripted. 100%. It happens every single time. So annoying. And now he's pulling over, but it's useless pulling over here. He's going to turn into the corner. He's going to block me. You know, it's just, I've lost 300ths of a second. There's just no way I can make this up. Even if I make it up, it's lost. Just everything. It's just so annoying that they've programmed it to do that. So every single time you come down that pit straight. Don't tell me how to do my job. I know what I'm doing. Shit. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, and look! He's crashed into the fucking side of me. Idiot. Well, that's my qualifying over. 17th position it is because of Vettel. So if I'm telling you what, if I get a chance to take him out in the first corner, that's what I'm doing. What an asshole. Second. Okay, apologise for my language there. But you can't just script it into a game that every time you come in. I know there's luck and there's things like that, and in reality maybe they do put people out who are in your realm, shall we say, so who want to put you out. But come on, a Ferrari, give me a break. But there's always somebody on your fast lap comes out in front of you. If you go back and watch, I don't think I've uploaded. Oh yeah, I did upload it to here. If you go back and watch yesterday's from Melbourne, you'll see exactly the same thing happening in qualifying. I'm sure if I did a flying lap, it probably wouldn't do it. But I'm not breaking my rules just because. I'm sure if you do a flying lap, the computer puts you in a prime position, but I'm not doing it. So I can't even go out again in this this qualifying period. Right, 46.83. Still only a second off, and I honestly think that if that Ferrari hadn't come down in front of me, I'd have got that second. In fact, I'm sure I'd have got that second. Oh, no, I don't want to restart anything. Okay. penalty-free record, but unfortunately I'm not going to get my my points so that I can bring an an upgrade. I don't think. Wow, Renault have lost a lot of interest in me. Well, this is what it is. I love it. Beat Kevin Magnussen even though he's in 7th and they expect me to finish 15th. I like that. Okay, let me just look at the R&D tree just to make sure that I can't improve that yet. Okay, so department capacity reached. I don't actually know what that means. Okay. I guess it's just work that they can do. So we're going to have some minor upgrades, but we're not going to have great upgrades coming in the next race. But just look at this. That's the one I'm worried about, the turbocharger. And actually the energy store was pretty low as well, but 71%, that's pretty high. I think it'll get me through the race, but it'll only just get me through the race. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I'm going to leave the stream running. But I'm going to just take a quick break so that I can get something to drink, and then so I'll be back in about 10 minutes and we'll go through the race period. Okay, hello, I'm back. So we're going to go to race day now. And we're going to see if we can make some places back and take Sebastian Vettel out of the race. If it's at all possible. Just let me check my thing here. Go to race, okay. Let's just crash into Sebastian Vettel from the off, I think, if I can, in the first corner.
Hard work, ingenuity and ambition. All things you'll find in abundance once the new pavilion heads to Shanghai, over there to our southeast. And we've got plenty of that here on the grid as well. 20,000 horsepower, give or take, chomping at the bits to be unleashed for the Chinese Grand Prix. Shanghai International Circuit then, 16-corner high-speed thrill ride. The long and ever-tightening right-hand wheel turns 1 and 2 tests the driver's patience, and the flat, open to the elements location, tests their skill in crosswind. 2 DRS zones with assist passing, and overtaking is available into turn 1, and of course down the kilometre-long back straight into the hairpin of turn 14. Joining me once again to take you through this race is the effervescent Anthony Davidson, and I'm very much looking forward to it getting underway. You raced here, of course, didn't you, back in your Super Aguri days in that infamous Chinese Grand Prix of 2007?
Yeah, that's right. I didn't last that long though, unfortunately. Qualifying had gone pretty well, but the brakes failed quite early in the race, around lap 10 or 11, something like that. And of course, back in 2004,
She's not got any lap position.
to lap in the circuit. Love a good stat. It's a pretty tough circuit on brakes here, though. You know, it's that long back straight down into turn 14, and then you've got turn 6 and 11. They're quite heavy as well. On top of that, matching your front tyre wear is always a challenge around here, so it's a lot to keep in mind.
We're almost ready to go then. This is what the starting grid looks like for today's race.
Okay, so we're going to skip the starting grid and everything. Don't really need to go down that. Let's have a look at our race strategy. Okay, now in Australia we did a one-stop, and it actually worked really well for us, and I think we're on ultra softs then. So you can see that in theory I should have maybe even 2 extra. I might be able to get to lap 8 before needing to make the switch. It's planned for lap 6, but I think I might be able to get to lap 8. The 3-stop strategy is just not going to cut it. It's not going to be the right way. So I'm going to go on this one. We've got the car set up ready and everything, so pretty much ready to go. Just wait for all the other cars to get underway.
Launch map is good, but we need to learn the gears, so go into each one when you can. We're going to need some work on the brakes, so put some energy into them, and on the tyres as well, please.
This is quite a slow procession lap. If you wonder why there's a bit of a big difference, it's because I want Alonso to get out ahead so I can try and get through the gears here. Ah, just got into 7. Well done. Don't want to lose my car on a procession lap of all things. Wow. Been removed from the formation lap. I don't know what that means. I've been disqualified. Okay, so I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to restart the session. I think it might... Well, I hope it gives me the option of skipping the formation lap, actually. That might be the better idea. Okay. Stoffel Van Dorm's gonna stop me getting the spot I wanted. I've had a collision with Ericsson. Verline's going around the outside to try and take the position, so I have to be really careful here. Actually, I've got so many cars looking to take advantage of me.
If your car energy store is getting a little worse for wear, stay out of lean mix in order to reduce the load.
Getting back for his nudge earlier. I don't want to go too wide here because they can nip up my inside. Force Alonso wide here. This really is going to be a rundown with him. Okay, so I'm going to have to drop back to standard for a bit here. A late move on Magnussen, but I managed to get it to stick. That was a good exit. That was a good line, that. You saw the distance I managed to pull on Hulkenberg there, so that's a good line to know. Oh, do you know what? I don't normally do flashbacks, and I said that I probably wouldn't do it in the future, but that one I'm just going to do it because I wasn't concentrating and I knew not to do that. Damn it. I'm very lucky not to have lost my front wing there. So this really could come down to a pit stop lap here. I remember last time I went wide and then I came in just a little bit earlier here. And look, I'm even going to get the jump on him with that line. So that's a really good line to remember. That's a really good line to remember. I mean, even for future races, that's a line to remember, because I know that it's going to give me, even in qualifying, it's going to give me some type of bonus. I don't think I'm going to get the second here. I'm not. Okay, so I have to be really aware of Hulkenberg. Good, good. missed it that time. Wheels actually look alright at the moment, so I'm in no rush to come in.
You need to pit in this lap.
I don't know how Palmer's got DRS, but he has somehow.
The gap to the car ahead is 7.4 seconds. Right, some information on Hamilton. They have some kind of mechanical problem.
Okay, so you can see one of my wheels, my front left, is just a tiny bit worn at the moment. I don't think it's a big indicator of anything too suspect, but it will be something to keep an eye on.
Remember, box this lap. Keep an eye on your distance to the speed limit line as you approach, and make sure you don't speed.
Right, I think I'm going to come in here. I think it's
Go, go, go. You'll be racing on the exit.
I am racing on the exit as well.
Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now.
Who hit me there? Perez. There's definitely something on the release from the pit lane where right, so
Okay, we're reaching a danger point with the wear on the MGU-H. Overheating the engine will exacerbate the issue, so keep the temps under control.
so what does that mean? Does that mean to drive a little bit more cleanly? position am I? 8th, actually. That's a very, very respectable position. Right up until I was too busy paying attention and ran deep.
Gap to car in front is 4.8 seconds. The gap to teammate is 2.4 seconds. Some information on Palmer. They are out of the race. Okay, the gap behind is 2.2 seconds. We're accumulating some wear on the MG UK. We need to stay out of rich fuel mode to manage it.
Right, okay. Well, I'm not going to go into rich fuel mode because I'm 0.10 down on the petrol, and I think I've run deep.
We have 5 laps of fuel remaining.
I think on my last lap I'm going to have to run in lean for about half a lap.
Our gap to first place is 27.1 seconds.
Definitely handling that part of the track better than previously. I just remember need to remember that early braking spot at the end of this part of the lap, because that's where I think that's where I'm losing a bit of time I can actually make up. So you just have to get on the brake slightly sooner. It's a couple of meters. But once you're on the brakes, it's much, much better. So you can see that I'm really hugging this. That line just gave me so much more before.
Ocon is behind you. The gap behind us is 5.1 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Their time last lap was a 1 minute 44.0.
nothing I can really do about that. If I can just get to lap 13, 14, I can drop back the fuel mixture.
So the gap to our teammate is 5.6 seconds. We've only got 2 laps of fuel.
Ah, crap, I made a right dog's dinner of that. So what I'm going to do is at the end of the straight I'm going to go down to lean. Let's just see if I can't start collecting a little bit of fuel. Now what you can see is I've gone back into the green now, which is good, so it means that on the straight I'm going to whack it up a little bit, just so I can try and pull out the lead that I need on the straight,
Behind is 3.5 seconds.
because he is closing the gap. So I'm just going to actually put it on standard. I can't put it up to rich because he said not to.
Some information on Ocon. They seem to have an issue.
Well, that's good. In fact, that's better than good. That means I can actually put my... Actually, I might be alright in standard for the moment.
Final lap of the race.
Let's see how we go. I'll knock it down as needed, because we seem to be gaining fuel now, which is very strange. Okay, my teammate is behind me, so gotta drive a good clean lap here. He's not going to get within the second from back there, which is really good. So that means, albeit a mess up on that final on this final straight, I should be able to keep him at bay. I'm actually going to knock it down to lean, otherwise I'm going to really struggle. Notice I knocked it back up to standard just because I saw that I saved a bit of fuel there, so checkered flags out for me. And we've done it.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
Great win then for the Maranello team today.
So we definitely pushed a few things to the limit there. But we got it right, so
Just how much of a team sport this really is. The credit to the driver as well, though. It's very good having a well-oiled machine behind the scenes without a ton to pound the wheel, of course.
And as we can see, it's time for the podium as the drivers make their way out. There's a familiar red suit making its way to the top stand. Fantastic win for Ferrari. And now let's take a look at the driver standings. It's a good result for Kimi Raikkonen, who extends his advantage to the top of the championship. And now I'd like to ask you, Anthony Davidson, who was your driver of the day?
Today, I think I'll give it to the Haas driver.
oh, that was me.
Demonstrated a very delicate touch in close proximity to other cars, as well as showing a lot of maturity and patience in difficult situations.
Thank you.
To the constructors then. Ferrari extends their lead at the top of the championship. Well, what a weekend that has been. Please join us next time for another thrilling installment of this Formula One season.
Okay, so I beat my teammate. That's the most important thing. Now I hate the fact that it immediately jumps onto the next race. It should have like a debrief and then you can invest in upgrades. So I got some extra points for clean laps and stuff, and then obviously I finished the race higher, no penalties, and I got the fastest lap over Magnussen, so that's good. Oh no, I still am at China. Okay, so that was my mistake. I honestly thought that it did just jump straight to the next race, so that's good. So you can actually invest as you go along. So if we look at the R&D tree, I got 506 points, and I said to you before we can recommend an upgrade, but I actually think that I can't do anything because, oh no, I can. So there you go, turbo wear. Let's go straight for that because we know that needs developing. So we should have 3 upgrades coming next week. If I'm thinking right, we should have 3 upgrades due next week. So that's really important. What I want to do now as well is look at my car, at my actual car. If you want to stick around and watch this, you can, but effectively I've finished the race, so that's kind of the stream over with soon. But what I'm going to look at now is my things like my power unit, what I'm going to switch out, because for example this turbocharger is probably, I'm going to leave it in. In fact I'm going to leave everything in, and there's a reason for this. I think that turbocharger is going to get me through practice in the next race, and my practice consists of what, track acclimatization and tyre wear. So this is actually going to, in a way, it's going to feed into that, because I don't need the power output and everything like that when I'm doing those things. So for the moment I'm actually going to leave them in, and then in the next race, somewhere after practice, before qualifying, a few parts of these units are just going to have to be changed over. The MGU Kinetic's going to survive another race, I'm sure. And we're going to have some upgrades which might help with the the durability of them. So that's a really good thing. I was going to change them out now, but I'm thinking no, I've still got nearly 20% of that, and 20% is quite a lot. The gearbox now is currently at 52, so I'm probably going to get another race maybe out of it, but that's where you've got to look at it, because 2 out of 6 races, this is supposed to last for 6 races, this gearbox. So without a serious development curve at some point where I'm going to be able to make the durability of these things last, I'm going to be taking grid hits. And whereas I don't mind finishing later down the grid because I know I can make it up through raw driving, but it's definitely a little bit worrying in that department. So join me tomorrow at some point. I will try and put a link on the channel to see what time I'll be on. It'll probably be after the real Formula 1 Grand Prix that's going on. Also hit the subscribe button so that I can send you messages as to when the next one will take place. If you're watching a delayed video, same applies. Hit the subscribe button. Normally I go on Twitch, but today I'm just doing a day on YouTube just to see the differences and if I like it anymore. Stick around. I'm going to be continuing my long shot on Madden NFL, which is the story mode. I'm going to take a short break and then I'm going to be playing through that for an hour or so. So feel free to join me in about 10 minutes for that. Okay, thanks very much. And anything else? No, I think that's it. I will catch you in a while.